Hi there, welcome to my garden here in mid-Michigan. It is full on fall, and I'm not sure by the time you see this it'll probably be into November. And anyway, I'm going to be planting some plants I got today for $3 a piece. They're Brunnera, variegata Brunnera. They're my favorite Brunnera, and I have this like section down here in my garden I call the gully garden, and it's mostly shade. It starts up there in what I call Lollipop Lane, and it kind of is full sun up there in Lollipop Lane, and then as you get to sort of this section right here, it starts to turn into part sun, part shade, and then right when we get past my American flag here, maybe we'll go up on the hill here, I'll show you, but so that's all the sunny section there, right there, and then right when it comes to right about here is where my American flag is. This section is all pretty much just dappled sun, mostly shade. So this is a great spot for me to plant Brunnera. I've tried it past my American flag before. In fact, I had one like right there, and that was the furthest one I had to the full sun, and that it wasn't even in full sun, and it did not like that spot at all. So I actually ended up moving it this late summer. So anyway, I've been trying to figure out where it works, where it doesn't work, and I found that pretty much past my American flag tree here, it works really nicely. So I'll show you some of the other Brunnera I have. I'll show you the new stuff I got, and then I'll show you where we're gonna plant it today. So let's go. This is where I had a Brunnera. It was right underneath this flag here. That's the one I ended up moving because it just didn't perform well at all. But I would say maybe like, tucked further into the gully, and then a little bit, past the flag, I've got this little group of Brunnera here. This is the Queen of Hearts, and this does really, really well here. So I have that, and then a little bit further into the gully, I have this Jack of Diamonds. Does really well. These are 3 of the variegata ones that I'm gonna do. I have tried to plant Brunnera in this little section, but I noticed this is a really fussy little section here. It's very, very wet and very, very shady. So a lot of plants don't like to be wet. The fern you can see do really well, and it is hard to see because it is fallen. I have leaves everywhere, and all the plants are starting to go into dormancy. But if you can kind of tell, I've got little splashes of Brunnera in here, and they're taking a little bit of time to grow on, I think, because they don't like the really, really wet soil. And I also split them when I planted them, so they were chunks of each other. And so they're taking a little bit of time to put on size. The hosta like it in here, and the fern like it here, because if you know, then you know that hosta and fern love water. So let me show you some other Brunnera I love down here. This is where I've got 6 of the variegata, the new ones, and this is where I'm going to put 3 more. I've been kind of trying to collect them when I find them on sale. If you haven't poked on any of my movies and you're here for the first time, this is a walk path in here, so this kind of goes around that walk path, and I want to border my Halcyon hosta with those. So I'm going to put them there. And then I also have some more Brunnera down here. This gets more into the shady section. So this is a nice little chunk of Brunnera here. These ones these 3 right here, those volunteered, and so I put them there. I've got one more variety. It would be pretty too, is putting them in here. But I need to let these grow. I need to let those grow on and see how big they get. I don't want to cram them in there. I've got Brunnera around here. Again, they're all looking a little shabby because it's the end of the season. They're done. These are looking glass Brunnera. These are really pretty too. These used to be my favorite until I found the ones we're going to plant today. I've got some right here. So you can see it does really well in my garden, and it seeds itself. I have a few here. Actually, all of these were all, the ones that I have in here, were all volunteer. So we're going to plant some more today and finish my little border around this black walnut tree. So let's get those in the ground. I'll show you the tag first so you can see what we're working with, but look at this beautiful leaf. Isn't that so pretty? I love it so much. And hear that? It's kind of rough and like scratchy or itchy, and so the deer don't eat it. Rabbits don't eat it either. But it's called Variegata Brunnera. Got them for $3 a piece. It says let me see if I can get, sorry. A real standout in heavy shaded locations, heart-shaped leaves with unique variegation, a charming display of colorful, dainty blooms, easy to grow and very rewarding, beautiful in shady areas, borders or woodland gardens, especially nice in water-side gardens, a reliable ground cover for any location. The light requirement says shade. It says 12 to 18 inches high, 18 to 24 inches wide, zone 3 through 7, keep watered. Yeah, anyway, so it's just a really great plant, and yes, it gets beautiful like periwinkle blue, almost like forget-me-not flowers in the spring, and it blooms for a really long time. And it's one of the first thing that blooms, so it's just really rewarding after a long, cold, dark winter. So let's get those 3 planted, and then we'll figure out where we want to put the other 3. I know it's pretty close together here to these hosta, but these hosta have been in here for years. It's one of the first things I planted out here in the gully, and they're not going to get any more bigger than that. And then I thought it would be pretty to have this foliage kind of just like coming over my walk path a little bit. So I'm fine with it being a little bit crowded, I guess. Full would be a better word. So we'll put one there. I get lots of questions about how can you plant around all those trees? Guys, I don't know. I have no clue. I've never had issues planting around these trees out here. Every once in a while I'll run into a root, and it's like I just plant around it. It's not that big of a deal. You can see the plants are not affected by it at all. I do think there are areas that are affected by the black walnut trees, and they just don't grow as well. I haven't really looked into that too much, but I know some of you have mentioned that being a factor. So like, you know, certain areas are like, okay, I'm not really sure why things don't grow very well here. I have figured out, like I said, a lot of it has to do with the amount of moisture and shade that it gets. So you just, you know, I've found things like heuchera don't do really well in my gully because it's way too wet. But like hosta does phenomenal. Fern, the Brunnera does really good, unless it's super, super wet. Hydrangea, hellebore, boxwood, that's always a good one in shade or sun. So, you know, you just have to try to figure out your own garden and figure out what works best for you in your little microclimate. It might be completely different than what the tag says, or what your neighbor down the street says or does, or whatever. The garden kind of has a mind of its own, and you have to try to figure it out. So that's what I've been doing. You know, what might work for me might not work for you, and what might work for you might not work for me. We might have the same zone, you know, the same looking garden, I don't know, but for whatever reason, sometimes it just doesn't work. But I think that's fun. I think that's the fun of it, trying to figure it out. Because boy, when you finally do figure out what works, it's so much fun. It's so rewarding. It's like you investigated something and figured out the solution. I always tell people I thought it'd be super fun to be like either like a doctor, like a surgeon, and do surgery or something if you were that smart, or to be like a private detective. You could like figure things out. I would love that, to be like a FBI agent or something, and you're trying to solve like a cold case. But that's kind of how I feel like gardening is. Like, you get to try to figure out this cold case of like, why did that die? Why is that not surviving? I need to figure out what the culprit is. So anyway, it's just really rewarding when you do and you finally figure it out. Okay, let's figure out where to put the other 3. I do, for some reason, like, Brunnera reminds me of bunny, maybe just because they both start with a B. But I thought it would be kind of cool to plant some around this little bunny area. This is Bunny Boulevard. I have my snowball Annabelle hydrangeas. I have some fern there. There's a pretty little, what is that? Bleeding heart, chartreuse bleeding heart. And then that little Brunnera actually volunteered right there. So I know it likes it here because it volunteered to grow on its own. So it might be cool to plant some around here. Maybe I'll move that little guy somewhere else, and we'll just put 3 of our variegated ones there. Let's see what it looks like. Because I don't know, there's something about the word Brunnera that reminds me of a bunny. And oh, that's so pretty. I like it. Let's do that. We'll just do a little bunch of it. And then I think I want to move that one. But either way, we'll put that right there. Oh, I like that. Let's do it. Look at that. There's another volunteer. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's crazy. It just loves it out here in the garden. So carefully grab that one. And kind of put it so I don't ruin it. See that? Complete Brunnera. And then this little tiny guy right here. That. And if you guys are like, how do you do that? How do you get those to do that? I don't do it on purpose, but I leave the seed heads on for as long as I can. See that? It's a free little plant. So if you leave, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm thinking this might be one of the reasons why I get a lot of volunteers, is I don't come in and cut off the old blooms right away. For one, I don't want to. I don't like a lot of maintenance. I like to leave things looking, especially down here in the gully, I like it to look really natural. And a lot of seed heads I like Brunnera, penstemon. I don't even mind hosta bloom stalks for a while. There's lots of different things that I will leave for a while just because I think it looks cool and I like it. So anyway, if you do that, I find that a lot of times it will reseed itself. In fact, I think that's the little tiny baby one too, maybe. I don't know, but anyway, 2 free plants. And we know it's gonna do good in here because, well, it does good. Oh yeah, and it's right across here too. That's cool. It's kind of like you're walking through this path. You got a couple on this side, a couple on that side. So we know it does good in this area because it's seeding itself. And then we also know it does good because right next to here, it's doing great. Drop it in there. Put some leaves over it, mulch it up. I might actually move it, I think I'm going to move it closer to the front. There's a rock there. Yeah, I'm gonna move it up a little, just a little bit. One of the reasons I love planting, I'm such an advocate for really neat foliage plants like hosta, fern, Brunnera, heuchera, penstemon, the palmaria, stuff that has color on it, because I do have a lot of shade and there's not a lot of plants that bloom or give you color in the shade. And so this, if you have, different, right here we got green, like a creamy white, and a purple color, and then like a chartreuse, like yellowy green color. We've got like some sagey green going on here. We've got some like kind of bluish green going on here with this autumn frost. So right in this little section, I don't have any flower blooms, but I got lots of different foliage color and textures, and so that really helps bring your otherwise kind of dreary, dark shade gardens to life. And so I'm just a huge advocate for foliage and playing off that, and I also just think it's really fun. And I honestly kind of prefer more, I've talked about this a lot in the past, but I kind of prefer more foliage plants over blooming plants. Like, I'm not a huge salvia fan. We're talking perennials. I'm not a huge salvia fan. I'm not a huge Veronica fan. Like I mentioned, I don't like maintenance of having to like cut things back all the time. Once that stuff kind of blooms, it just looks kind of junky to me. That's just my personal opinion. I would rather plant something like this and it gives me a really nice, beautiful bloom in the springtime, and then it gives me a really nice, beautiful plant the entire rest of the season. I prefer that type of gardening over, planting lots of things that bloom. There are plants that I do love the blooms, like daisies, like the Daisy May, Shasta Daisy. I love that. Penstemon, that has a cool bloom on it, but honestly I kind of just grow that for the foliage too. So there are things that I will try out. Flax, coneflower, hibiscus, but all of those kind of have cool foliage too. Or at least their foliage doesn't go brown and nasty. It kind of stays nice. Alright, I like it. Now I gotta figure out a place to put those little volunteer. Let's see. We could try them in here. I haven't tried Brunnera in this section. This is another one. This is another one of those sections where I'm trying different plants. So let's try it in here and see how they do. And if they do good, maybe we'll get some more. Actually, look at that. I could plant, let's separate them. See, I got 3 of them right here. Here, let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Some leaves and cover them up. There we go. We got 3 little plants. 1, 2, 3. We'll see how those do in there. This is one of those areas where I'm trying different things. But yeah, I think that would be really pretty in here. Nice and bright, kind of borders our little bunny there in Bunny Boulevard. Looks good. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, getting some things planted up in the fall. It's so nice out here. Like I've been saying, we have been having so much wonderful, sunny, warmish weather. Perfect for planting, perfect for just having a nice like sweater on, and you don't get too hot or too cold, and just nice fresh air. The wind's blowing, the colors are beautiful. I'm really stuffed up right now because I have bad allergies, so I was gonna say like smelling all the beautiful smells, but I can't smell them right now. Sometimes that's all right though, because we live next to the farmer's field, and he did fertilize the other day, and I definitely could smell that. The smell of success, I guess. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope that you're just truly having a wonderful day. And if you're not, if you're having one of those days where you're just like, I just want to sit on the couch and eat a pan of brownies and watch Lifetime movies all day long in my pajamas and comfy socks, that's okay too. But I would say if you're having one of those days, it always helps me to try to be thankful for just one thing. Try to be grateful for something, and even if that's just like having breath in your lungs, something simple. Well, it's not simple, but something simple but very powerful is that. Some people are waking up like in a hospital bed right now, literally fighting for every breath that they have. I pray for the people that are doing that, that's their life right now, that's their circumstance, that's their situation. If I just have like a gloomy day for whatever reason, it's nowhere near what some people are dealing with. So anyway, I don't know why I said that, but I hope that, you know, you hear my heart on that. Like if you're having a bad day, I know I always try to say like have a wonderful day or whatever, and some people are probably like, well, I'm not really having a wonderful day, Jess. I know, I get it. Not every day is like feels wonderful, but I do think it helps personally for me to try and be grateful for at least one thing. Anyway, all right, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time, hopefully. Bye.